Hello and welcome to today's video on Learning Assistant, one of our videos from Digital Week. My name is Simon Berry. I'm the Digital Solutions Manager for City & Guilds, and I'm responsible for demonstration installations on the digital products that we have to offer. So as you can see, over the week we've got many different digital videos going out this week, from Smart Screen to Skill Zone, Maths and English, and various other ones on ePortfolio, as well as digital credentials. So the world is evolving. Worldwide created in 1990, 27 years forward look at its use. The Radiator Group from February 2015 estimated the number of emails sent per day in 2015 to be around 205 billion. So almost 2.4 million emails are sent every second, and some 74 trillion emails are sent per year. Skype users make up to 3 billion minutes of calls each day. Mark Zuckerberg launched Facebook on February 4th, 2004. In April, they declared they have around 1.2 billion users a month. 328 million monthly active users on Twitter, launched in only 2008, not even 10 years old. LinkedIn now has 500 million users. So City & Guilds are developing innovative and intuitive teaching and learning platforms and solutions that will support your digital learners every step of the way. Compatible with lots of devices through internet browsers and apps through mobile phone devices and tablets. So at City & Guilds, we also work with other products as well. So we've got Digital Me that specialises in digital credentials. We've also got work with Get My First Job that launches Talent Portal, offering individuals the opportunity to advertise themselves for apprenticeships. So the ability to search for and look for suitable learners for employment. So we do offer other range of platforms ourselves as well, which includes Learning Assistant, which we'll have a look today. We also got Skill Zone, the platform that enables a learner to build their workplace skills, through to Smart Screen that has got resources and e-learning. But for more information, if you'd like to contact digital sales at cityandguilds.com, and you can arrange demos by our digital experts, or equally you can call 01924 206 709. Okay, so today we're looking at Learning Assistant, which is City & Guilds' answer to the ePortfolio system. So first of all, I just want to show a couple of benefits of the system. Within the system, there are various different roles you can use. So as well as having assessors and internal IQAs to assess obviously learners and to IQA, we do have a super users in the system. And within the super users, they have various other reporting tools they can use, as well as excuse me, as well as having team members where they can set up staff. So within this menu, we can set up additional staff, ranging from assessors to internal verifiers to EQAs in the system. We can obviously set up training managers and work-based recorders. So the super user is responsible for setting up roles. They're also responsible for creating learners. They can also create employers as well. They're within the employer section. You can also give employers the access to access their learners and see how they get on and check progress. Also, what we have is within the courses section where they can, where they can add resources and build their own tasks to all the qualifications within the system. So you can really tailor Learning Assistant to the needs of your company. So you can access these various qualifications and add documentation that you currently use. So if you've got your own lesson plans, your own schemes of work, your own knowledge questions, worksheets, you can put these integrated into the system. So then when assessors and learners access the system, all the documentation they need to be able to carry out the learning is within all the qualifications. But what we've also got, which is quite appealing to a lot of people, is the ability to report on everything in the system. So everyone gets a dashboard where you can have a look at learner status, where this will tell you how many active learners you got, how many inactive. Inactive would be maybe learners on suspension or break in learning, and then we've got completed learners as well. Okay, if you scroll down the bottom as well, what you've also got is overdue submissions. So this is learners that have uploaded evidence and sent the work to the assessor to then carry out the assessment. Now, what it does, it breaks it down into colour codes, how many days old these are. So as you can see on the pink, there's 18 plus learners, 18 learners which have sent work which are over 20 days old, which obviously would be quite concerning if this was a live system. So what I can do is I can click on the purple section. This will then break it down even further for us. So this will tell me who the candidate name is, who the assessor is, the course they're on, also the unit and element, and the date it was submitted. So you have the ability then for all 18 learners. You can export it out to Excel, to a CSV, to a PDF, or you can print it. And then you can obviously then chase up the assessor to see where, to make sure they're assessing the work. Okay, so that's your dashboard, which just gives you a bit of information about live learners and overdue work. Then we've got a couple of different other reports. We've got registration reports, which gives you an idea of all the registrations. So with the awarding body, just as an extra now, our system, just because we're made by City and Guilds, we can accommodate all awarding body qualifications within the system. Okay, but on the registration report, this will give you a detailed report of registration numbers, date they were registered, and you can obviously drill down there. We've also got external verifier reports, which will give you information on the external verifier's activity. So if you've scheduled a day for the EB to come out, they carry out the work on the system, you can have a look at the learners they looked at and things like that. We've also got training reports, which is assessor training reports, and basically you can check on their activity within the system, how often they access the system, which learners are accessing, and so forth. And then we've got learner reports. And within the learner report section, there's a couple of different reports. So we've got a learner journey report, which gives you an overview of the whole learner journey. We've got reviews, candidate reviews. If you use reviews in the system, then this will give you reporting on that. We've also got then activity of the learner, making how often the learner accesses it. Then what we've got is candidate progress report, which for most people is probably the most used subject. So if I just click create, and I'll talk you through one of these. So what we've got is report name. So I'll call this one Simon Berry report. If I click this and save it as a template to yes, that means then that this will be saved for me to run this more historically. If I said no, then this would be a one-off report and I wouldn't run it again. Okay, so what I can do is add the fields I'd like to see. So name, maybe company, the course they're on, the assessor, the IV, so maybe start date, oops, then end date. I will also look at maybe how many units have been completed, and then I'll have a look at expected progress against actual progress. Okay, and that'll give me how they're doing in the system. Then we can apply some filters. So the filters is where we can actually specify the information we want. So if you want to run it for a particular company and send the report off to the company, or if we want to run it for a particular course, or maybe in this instance, maybe for a particular assessor. So I'll run this for, I'll run it for myself. Okay, you can add additional filters as well then, so you might run it for a number of different assessors, or you might run it just for one assessor that works at a particular company. Okay, we can then order it by certain things, so I'll order it by name, so that'll sort it alphabetically. Then schedule to run. Because I've said I want to save the template, I now need to specify how frequently I want this run. So I could run it every day, every week, or every month. So I'll select every month, and then it'll ask me when my start date. So I'm going to run it from the 1st of November, and it'll run every month. And we haven't got to be logged in the system for this to run. Then what to do with the report, so I'll email it. And then you have a chance to put someone's email address in, to email it to somebody. I'll put mine in. And if you put a comma in, then you could then send it to somebody else as well. So you could send it to numerous people. And then attach a report, yes. And then I can send it in 3 different formats. So PDF, which will give you an Acrobat Reader, XML, which will give you like an internet. And then we got CSV, which will give you like an Excel file. So if you wanted to manipulate the data a bit later on. But on this occasion, I'll do PDF. And if I save it, the report will run for the very first time. Shouldn't take that long. Okay, so then the report will run, and then I can open up the PDF. Here we go. Okay, so what this will give me name of the learner, what company you work at, the qualification, who the assessor is, who the verifier is, the start date and end dates, how many units have been completed, so there's 5 units open, 0 being completed, expected progress against actual progress. So they should be 25 and they're 0. Okay, so you can see the different progress in the system. So it's a really good report to make sure that the learners are on target and doing what they should be doing. Okay, so I'll close that down. If we go back to my learner reports now, what you'll see then is Simon Berry report is in my templates and will run every month, and will send me an email every month of that report. Okay, so that's kind of the Superuser side. There's obviously other things that Superuser can do, and if you wanted a more detailed demo, then you could arrange that at a bit later date. But what we'll do now is we'll log in as an assessor, just so I can show you the assessor side. So the Learn Assistant is on the internet and can be accessed by going on any browser. So you could use Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox and Safari. They all work on each one. We've also got a full app version for Android and Apple. So if you went on the Play Store or the App Store today, you could download it from there and run it on your tablet or your phone. We've also got an offline version as well, which can be downloaded to your desktop. What you can do then is use it offline. So you would sync it before you went out, and then you'd carry out the work offline, and then when you get back into an internet connection, you could then sync it as well. Okay, so just showing the different kind of menus for the assessor. So the assessor's got a home page. What the first one is assessor tasks. What you can see is waiting review. So these are learners that have submitted work to me, and I got to go and carry out to make sure that I can assess them and make sure the work meets the criteria. Verifier referrals. So this is work that the verifier's checked and says that I need to look at. Don't quite agree with the claims, and then any overdue as well. Okay, so that's kind of my task list. Okay, what we've also got, if we click on the avatar in the top left hand corner, there's a couple of different menus. Learner kind of give you your learner caseload. Then the avatar give you an opportunity to change your picture. We've then got password, which we can change your password. But one of the most important keys is notifications. What this gives you the ability to do is put your email address into the system. You can then set it to per message or daily. If you set it to per message and you had 10 learners uploading 10 pieces of evidence, then you would get 10 emails. But if you did daily and then you ticked all the others to yes, what would happen then is when anything happens in the system, whether it's a learner uploading evidence or a IQA carrying out a verification, it would notify your email address that you put in up here that something's happened, and then obviously give you a prompt to log in. But in addition to this, we've also got this in for learners as well, so that will give learners notification when you set them some work. Okay. So just having a little look down the system, what we've got is a learners section as well, which we'll come back to shortly. We've got a news and events section, which gives you the ability to advertise news and events within the system that's happening within your particular company. We've got an appointments calendar. So the appointments calendar is where you can set appointments with learners within the system. That then means then obviously you can update your calendar and you know where you've got to be. We can't link it with your Outlook email systems because of security, but however, we have got an export function. So you can export it out and export it into your different Outlook packages. We've also got a forums tab. So the forums tab, for every qualification, there's a forum set up, and learners and assessors can post in there to share best practice, to open discussions, kind of gets the learner talking about different things. We've also got the PDR section. So the PDR section is a place where you can keep up to date your professional development record. So thinking about your certificates, your occupational competent, your standardization meetings, all these things that you would do and you would normally keep in a manual file, you can do this to obviously keep electronic copy. Okay, we've also got a messaging system. So a bit like Outlook, we can message within the system. The difference with our system though is you can send it to groups. So as well as sending it to separate learners, we can also email groups of people. So you can email all candidates, all assessors, all expert witnesses, or equally you could do it by course. So you could send a message to everyone who's on a particular course. If there's an update in standards or new resources, you could then inform them quite easily. We've also got companies as well, so you can email all learners at a particular company. We've also got a processes tab as well. Now, the process is where you can build all your internal processes in the system. So if you had a 61-day review that you wanted to put in as a process, you could do that, and then assessors would have to then mark it as complete and within the system. But again, for a further demo, we can show you this in a bit more detail. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the learners section. Okay. And this will give you a more detailed search of your caseload. If I scroll down then, okay, so what you can see is when I search for a learner, you will see that obviously I've used a learner called Lewis Smith today. He's registered on a diploma in business administration. These are the units that he's currently got, normally the mandatory units. There's a RAG rating in the system. The progress buttons are started, completed, and expected. So expected is getting brought through from the date of the learning. So if they're halfway through, they should be 50% and so forth. The completed progression only goes up as and when you sign off certain units, elements, learning outcomes. And then the started goes up once you start working towards a unit. So that's a more of a holistic view, whereas the completed is only reflects when you sign things off. So if I open up that portfolio, this will take me into the learner's portfolio. And what you can see now is the learner name, a bit more detail now with qualification, the start date, and things like this, where you can see then who the assessor is, who the verifier is, and you can email the you can message a verifier direct. Top menu bars, what you've got is you can reset the learner's login name, username and password, so if they forget it, an assessor can do that. The declaration, so this is a declaration to say that it's a true and accurate account, it's all the work is sufficient, and so forth. We've also got course snapshot, which gives you a printout of all the criteria. And then we've got unit selection, which in this one gives me an opportunity to select my optional unit. So as you can see, 3 units, so the mandatory units are already being brought through. And then as you can see, then I got the ability to choose the optional units. So if I choose M3, choose some more. As you can see, the total credits are going up. So you can see them here. So you can see I haven't met it just yet, and I just create some more. Keep on choosing some more. There we go, goes green, and it says now I've met the credit value and I got 37 M credits over level 2 or above. Tells me how many guided learning hours I need, and then how many level 1 units, how many level 2 units, and level 3 units. So as you can see, I'm meeting that now. I click save, and them units will be available within the system immediately. So back to my course folder. So what you can see now is in the course folder, so these menus here, within the course folder, I've got all these various different units now within the system, and you can see them all in there. Okay, so the course folder, what you've got is the different learning outcomes. Now, in here you'll get the standard resource document, but also what you've got here is the individual criteria, so like a bit like evidence record sheets. So in here you hover over them, it tells you what the exact criteria is. Okay, we've also got the evidence folder. So the evidence folder is where all the evidence is stored. The registration form is where all the personal detail of the learner is put. The contact diary is where all the communication, everything that happens in the system, from assessment feedback to internal verification to setting work planning, one-to-one reviewing, all goes in here, and this kind of builds up the learner journey and what happens. We've got a section for reviews as well, so this can record that the reviews are happening. Then we've got the course metrics tab. So the metrics, so if you have to record on the job and off the job training, you can record it within here, and the system will add up each one and give you a total at the bottom of how many hours you've recorded. We can open this up for the learner as well, so we can show off the job training for the learner. And then the journey tab finally just gives an overview of the learning, so how many units, shows the logins of the learner. As you can see, there's not any just yet, and then what you've got is the different evidence types, who's uploaded them, and so forth. Okay, so I'm just going to carry out the bit of assessment and show you how the system copes with a learner uploading evidence. So if I click create entry within the contact diary, this would then pop up. I've got different entry labels, from assessment feedback, gateway checkpoint, interim verification, not sampled, one-to-one review, planning, referral, remote visit, supported learning, targets, teaching and learning, training. So a whole host of different labels. But at this point I would going to click general. In the description I'm going to put in unit 101, health and safety. I'd normally probably as an assessor be more descriptive in here, but for the purposes of this webinar I'll keep it a bit more brief. So in here I would ask them to complete knowledge questions. Again, I would probably be more set smart targets and give them really support and tell them exactly what I want to do, but obviously again if they need a day. You can set the next appointment calendar, so you can say, right, I want this completed by a week Wednesday. That could be my next visit date as well. This is where you can store on the job and off the job training hours. At this point I'd probably ask the learner to acknowledge that I've set this work, so it actually gets them to buy in. So if I click save, it will then ask me if I want to add this appointment to the meeting. So I can actually create an appointment now and put in more details, so where the location of it is, the start time, and then the duration and so forth. So I click save, and that will add that to my appointments calendar. I've also now got the ability to upload a document. So if I ask them to complete some knowledge questions, I could attach a document, and that would then give me the questions to attach. But once I've done that, I can just click close. What you can now see is that's been created within my contact diary, so health and safety, complete knowledge questions, and it just shows the learner has acknowledged it yet, but also it gives them the date of next visit or when the work needs to be completed by. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm just going to log out. I'm just going to log in as the learner, And you can see then how the learner should use the system. So it's going to ask me to change the password because I'm logging in for the first time. Okay. So my terms and conditions. So as you can see now, this is my homepage. Then the left-hand side, I've got the same menus that I had in the middle from before. Like I said before, if you click on the avatar, there is a notifications where I can set the notifications for myself. But very simply, if I scroll down, you can see on my homepage, I've got latest contact diary entry in. It's obviously flagged up in bold. So if I click on that, that will then come up and say, right, this is what my assessor sent me. It does require acknowledgement, so at this point the learner would have to acknowledge it. And then now that's the learner acknowledged it. Then it would show in the assessor system that the learner has acknowledged it. It's a good way of getting the learner to buy in. So at this point then the learner hopefully would then go away and upload some evidence. So they would go to the evidence folder, they would click Evidence Wizard. They now have two options. They can upload a file or they can create some evidence. If you did create evidence, this would give them a text pad to type into. But normally they probably would have their own document. So they click Upload a Document. We click Browse, or we can drag and drop. So if we had another window open, we could just drag them into there. But at this point, I'll browse. So I'll just attach a picture. Okay, so that's just a Sitting Girls logo. So you can see now it's been attached. I've got a couple of different steps now. So if I go to details, the title of the image has been brought through, and then what I've got then is I can add a description. Okay, and then what I can do then is add a type. So at this point, I'd probably just put product. Then one final step they got in here now is to cross-reference it. Okay, so some people think, oh no, I don't want to learn to cross-reference it, but they should do is their portfolio. So what we can do is click on 101, and then if we click on 101.1, then the criteria pops up, and then I've got the ability to just tick the boxes which I think it meets. Okay, and then click Save. That's saved, and I click Close. Not that hard for learner. They just got to attach a document. They can cross-reference it. It shows it's been used in 101. It's product. I do have the option to delete it, but once the assessor has assessed it, then it will become locked. As you can see now, my started progression has gone up to 3% because I've uploaded something into the work. There is one final step the learner has to do. So they would have to go to their course folder then. And then as you can see, 101's gone blue and it says started. I would then click on the actual learning outcome, and there's a button. You can see now the evidence has gone in and the ticks have gone in. I would click Submit Your Competence Claim and press OK. And that is it. Fairly straightforward for a learner. Upload the evidence, click a button, and away they go. So what I'll do now is I'll just log in as the assessor to see what the assessor sees. You would get a notification to say that a learner's uploaded the evidence into your email. But more importantly, on your home page, you can see now Lewis Smith has submitted this to me. So if I click on the element, you will see now that I can look into here now and start looking at it. So what first thing I'd probably do is open up the document. I won't at this occasion because obviously we've seen what it was before. And then what I've got now is I can assess the document. So black ticks are learner ticks, green ticks are assessor ticks. So I can hover over it, it tells me what the criteria is. If I click it once, change it to a green. So that would suggest I agree with it. If I click it again, it would change it to a question mark. So then I'll have to, so that maybe be telling them that they need to just maybe annotate it further or provide some additional support and evidence. Or I could remove it as well. Maybe it doesn't meet it at all. So I'll change that one to green and that one to green as well. And I'll leave that one as blank. I then click Save. That's saying that I've saved that. Then the document would become locked within the system, so they couldn't then delete it. I then have to give feedback. So there's two buttons, accept and return. I'd only ever click accept when the whole learn outcome is completed. So we've gathered 3 or 4 pieces of evidence and everything's been met at least once or twice, depending on your internal procedures. Once it's all been signed off, then I would then click accept. But at this point, because I've only done 1 piece of evidence, I'd click return. The contact diary will populate, assessment feedback would automatically be populated. Element 101 has been returned, and then I would give my feedback. So, excellent work. However, I have removed evidence criteria 1.1. Please now complete case study. Again, I can set my next appointment meeting date. I'd also require the learner to acknowledge this. I then click save. Again, then I could attach a document and then click close if I don't attach a document. Then what that would do then, that element would be come up as element reviewed and returned. If I go back to my home page, Lewis Smith has disappeared off my awaiting review because I've done that. I've processed that document, I've done it, no need to do anything further. But also if I go into the learner, Lewis Smith, obviously reviewed and returned now, so the learner then would get that contact diary. But if we go into contact diary, it now shows that the learner, so my first one was this, and I can see the learner acknowledge it and date time stamp that. And then what we've got now is that it's been returned, excellent work, and then this now needs waiting for the learner to acknowledge this. So the learner then would log in, acknowledge this, then they would carry on doing another bit of work as well. The assessor can do everything the learner can do. So if I went into the evidence folder, I could upload evidence as well by clicking into the evidence wizard. So obviously I can upload evidence as well as an assessor. Okay, so pretty much that's kind of how the assessment works. There is other things in the system that we can do. Talk about guided learning hours, we've got gap analysis in the system, we've also got VRQ units, exam units, and interactive forms in the system. So if this does interest you and would like a little bit further, like I said, you can contact the digital sales, so we can go to digitalsales@cityandguilds.com. Again, you can contact the number on 01924 206 709. But thanks for listening today, and if you'd like any further information, just use these contact details again. Thanks very much.